watching Chad 76 Media.
As motorcycles go, as a work of art, that is pretty impressive. That is the Praga ZS 800, handmade in the Czech Republic. It uses a Kawasaki W800 engine, but everything else is handmade and bespoke. That's a hand-welded frame that takes hundreds of hours to put together. They are carbon wheels, complete carbon, that again take hundreds of hours to put together. Each nut and bolt is titanium, even the foot pegs, 3D printed titanium. That is an impressive work of art. It's 142 kilograms, but like their hypercars, which is what, 1.3, 1.4 million, the bike is expensive too. It's just under 100,000 euros. They're making 128 copies in homage to their 1928 bike that looks very similar with a Springer front end and a hardtail rear. Now we have got the opportunity to put some miles on this very prestigious and very expensive bike. This isn't going to be a peg down wheelie competition. This is going to be riding it with fingertips, making sure I bring it back in one piece. We are going to head out on the Praga. That's near enough £100,000 worth in front of you. You look at the switch gear. That is nice, isn't it? I love it. It's one of those bikes you end up touching a lot, which that sounds a bit weird, but it is. Right, let's go for a spin. Oh, a little raspy. Lovely. It works. It's actually quite agile, it's quite light. I mean, it's got 18-inch wheels, but the carbon wheels. It's got shoe brakes, no discs. There's obviously no ABS. There's obviously no traction control. There's no rear suspension. The tyres doing all the work. I've got a little shock underneath the seat that is stopping my spine from breaking. If I sit further back in the seat, I end up like bouncing up and down like I'm on a... It's controlled though. It's not like bikes from the 1920s just had big bed springs. Look at the indicators, they're perfectly clear indicators. How nice is that? So when we review a sports bike, it's quite easy. You do lap times, we try and put our elbow down and we try and show off. When we do an adventure bike, we slug out some big miles and we take it onto some slight off-road. But when you're reviewing a piece of art that's nearly worth £100,000, it's slightly more difficult because one, I really don't want to crash it or damage it in any way. And two, who's going to be the end user and who's going to buy it? Bit steady, gotta remember there's no suspension on the rear. Oh, I really like it. It feels like an original bike, but with modern tyres and, I wouldn't say modern brakes because there's still shoe brakes, there's no ABS, there's no cornering anything, but it works as a motorcycle. I could ride this for quite some time and thoroughly enjoy it. Can I afford it? No. It's the same price as a house in Doncaster. Although, I'd rather have the bike than a house in Doncaster. Oh. Sounds great, doesn't it? But yeah, it is a difficult one to evaluate. There's some people going to be watching this going, that is a one-star bike because it's £100,000 and nobody's going to buy it. And there's also people watching this video is going to go, that's a 5-star bike because it's absolutely beautiful. When when you assess a race bike, you do it on lap times. When you assess an adventure bike, it's comfort and off-road ability. When you assess a 1928 replica £100,000, it's got to be on looks and feel factor, and it makes me feel good. and it looks good. So then surely that's a tick and a tick. As a piece of art and a piece of engineering, you have to dot your cap. That is absolutely beautiful. And when you look at the little bit of welding on the frame and how much skill has got into that and the hours that have gone into that, you make a slight mistake, frame in the bin, start again. Look at those carbon wheels. Can you imagine the amount of hours and labour that has gone into producing one of those wheels? To produce one of those wheels, you could probably produce 10 to 15 normal bikes. And as a motorcycle, it works. The W800 engine from Kawasaki is a great little engine. When I first rode the W800 in Japan, I loved the look of the engine, and I was quite surprised that Kawasaki hadn't done something more with it. But now in this chassis, it's a little bit more responsive. We've got a free-flowing titanium exhaust. The bike is considerably lighter than W800. It's only just over 142 kilograms, if I remember rightly. And the seat with the little shock underneath actually gives you some comfort. Every hardtail bike I've ridden previously from the 1920s just had giant bed springs which would just catapult you into orbit on every bump. It's an enjoyable character bike to ride, and it feels like a 1920s or 1930s bike, but with modern reliability, switchgear, sound and ergonomics. It's kind of like, you know when you see a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow or Silver Ghost at Goodwood or somewhere like that, and then they make a modern replica? That's what this feels like. I've thoroughly enjoyed riding it. I've thoroughly want to enjoy riding it a little bit more. I would love to see that bike being ridden actually on the road, but the chances of one of them being ridden on the road is very slim, because they're only making 128 and it is just under £100,000, which I know is eye-watering kind of money, but there are people out there who are going to buy it. There are people out there who have private jets and yachts, and this is going to be pocket change for them. And when they do eventually get to ride it around the streets of Monaco, they are going to enjoy it. So thanks for watching. If you've got any questions more technical about the bike, don't forget to fire them down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. We hope you enjoyed the video.